Welcome to the Onstage Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Robert. Good evening. Welcome to another Onstage Podcast. Um, as you notice, the background is different because I'm sitting in a recliner and I have everything set up the way I need it, and it feels kind of comfortable. And I'm afraid to move because every time I move, the microphone unplugs. So everything is perfect. All we're just waiting is for our guest, CerVon Campbell, who's a rapper. Hopefully, he will show up. Um, so is everyone? You won't believe it, but it's snowing out. It's snowing on April 18th. And someone was mentioning there's possibility that it could snow this month. And I'm like, nah, it won't snow in April. Guess what? It's snowing in April, and it's snowing in the middle of April. The last time I know it snowed was, I think, April 23rd of 2000 and something. And I don't know how long the snow is going to last, but it'll last for a little while anyway. So, how is everyone? How's the audience? How is just your day so far? It was Easter. We had Good Friday on Friday, and then we had Easter Monday on Monday. Sundays when Christ rose. And I'm pretty sure that's not accurate, but we have been celebrating Easter for, 2,000 years, but I don't know the really history of it, but I'm not actually going to go into it. This is a music podcast. So hopefully our guests will show up. Donna, you say hi. Hey, Donna. Thanks for watching. And I don't know who else is watching, but I'm just hoping that the guest has not been sidetracked by the snow. Probably have to stop off somewhere, but we'll be fine. So, I was watching an interesting YouTube channel. I've become it's been pretty good. It's called The Faces of the Forgotten. And Ren Carlson is a curator of the YouTube channel. And hopefully we will have him on our podcast at one point in about 4 months, and others as well. So, but I apologize if the guest is not here. I have no idea. He has not sent any information of where he is, or perhaps he doesn't know it's being recorded live. So I guess I have to keep everyone attached to this. This actually is the second time that we had to postpone it. This is actually the third. So hopefully he will show up today. If he doesn't, we have to figure something else. So, how are you, Donna? Hope you're fine. Yes. So, before we get into it, I will tell you who this rapper is. He's from South Carolina. His name is CerVon Campbell. He's an artist known for his soulful sound and venting lyrics. And if you go to the description in the YouTube, you will see that he has a new single called "Again," I feel, and it's got YouTube links. It's got a nice song there called "Illuminati" and "Cover It Up," and he's on Spotify as well. He's not only a singer-rapper, but also stand-up comic and songwriter. I like to figure out some of the comedy that he does. Also, he's favored for bending genres. So he has crafted mixtures of pop, hip hop, and R&B, along with alternatives, indie, country, folk, rock, and EDM throughout his discography. So hopefully, when he shows up, this is actually the second time a guest didn't show up, but they showed up like 10 minutes later. So this is going to be kind of embarrassing. You're going to hear me rant and rave And hopefully, when the um, guest shows up, then we will begin our little, I don't want to say little interrogation, let's just say interview. Uh, Hello, CerVon. We're waiting for you. All you have to do is click on the special guest key lock to get into the podcast. Um, I I checked all his email. He's not saying he's not showing up, but we'll wait maybe till 6:15, and then we will have to postpone this for another time. He's probably really busy. He's got a lot of music out there, and I'm sure you don't want to hear me be my own guest. I can interview myself, but then that means I'll have to have like a split personality. Actually, sorry, that's a bad joke. But yeah. So apart from that, how many of you actually listen to rap? I had to learn the complete song by Kumo D called "You Gotta Work." Took me a week to learn it, and I only sang it twice because it's so hard. Like, what do you call it? Musical lyrics or lyric poetry with Eminem, and you got like Nas, and you got a few of them out there. So, yep. Let's see. Where's CerVon? It looks like that CerVon is not going to show up. Um, all right. Well, we'll have to wait another 5 minutes anyway. I'm pretty sure he's late. So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So, and sadly, a live stream cannot be edited. So it teaches me that sometimes you may just have to record a podcast and then send it through later. CerVon! Now, I wish I could play you some of his music, but I wasn't able to get the video working. So maybe at some point, when I get a chance, I'll be able to play videos again. So maybe he's late. We'll give him till 6:15, and then what we'll do is we'll close this stream. Like, I'm checking out his email to me, and he actually said that we can do 6 o'clock or 6:30, Monday, April 18th, and this is Monday, April 18th at 6 p.m. I said to him, he said that was fine. So the date is 18th. Then he sent me everything I need to know, all the information, and so he must be just pretty late. So hopefully I can keep you people interested in my little rants while we wait for Mr. Campbell. Yeah. So my genres, I will have to share with you what my genres are. I actually am listening to now Tea Time with Mom podcast. So hopefully, let's see. I got my genres basically Matt Stern, Bond, who's a violinist group of three girls. Evanescence is my favorite. Amy Lee, of course. Ellen Williams is one. Adele is my favorite. Beth Nielsen Chapman. Sarah Brightman. Lucy Kay, I have as an artist on here. Hi, Lucy. ABBA. I also have Father Ray Kelly. Bella Voce is another one. Hopefully, Bella Voce, if you are watching, please contact me, get you on here. Bryan Adams Chronology is another one. And not one rapper that's except CerVon, of course. Chase Holfelder. I don't know if you ever heard of Chase Holfelder. He's really good. He just sings covers. Lighthouse Family is another one. I got other greatest hits. Very best of Jason Mraz, Mark Allman, Wild Strawberries, the Canadian group, of course. Take That. Never Forget collection. That's what I have. Take That. Melanie C. Yes, okay. I don't like the Spice Girls, but I like Mel C. Um, Fortunes is a group from the 60s. Haley Westenra. Oh, gee, I got even Celine Dion on here. Oops, I should have deleted that one. So, yep, that's basically it. Um, so apart from that, what are you put in the comments where you're from, so that we know where you're watching from, and hopefully we will enjoy our time listening to questioning and answers from a rapper. So we will do that, and hopefully that works out. CerVon, okay, we'll give him 5 minutes. I did say six. Um, I wonder if he thinks that maybe it was 6:30, because I told him that I gave him 6 o'clock. I'm reading here and it says we can do 6 or 6:30 p.m. Monday the 18th. And I told him what we booked him for April 18th at 6. But he never said, yeah, 6 is fine. He just jumped into giving me everything. So maybe he thinks it's 6:30. How can I keep you occupied for 20 minutes? Okay, well, maybe I'll just email him. We are waiting for you. Yep, sorry, it doesn't look like he's going to show up. Sorry, everyone. But we'll give him a little bit of a chance. Uh, okay, so we may have to reschedule this stream. Um, well, I'm not sure how to carry on a conversation with you all on my own. Um, I started this podcast almost a year ago, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy talking to people and keeping everything professional and learning everything I know about the person. And I really enjoy this. And so this is what is happening. Yes. Okay, so Donna asked me a question, and I will answer it myself for my own self. Yeah, I gotta figure out how to deal with this hammering in the background in someone snowing. It's hammering in the snow. Okay. Well, it's gonna be sitting here just saying nothing. Would you rather me just make faces or? Oh, you know what I could have. Shoot, I almost forgot. I forgot to tell everyone I'm also a magician. And it's something that I was passionate about for years. I was 6 or 7 years old when I did my first magic trick. And I remember in grade 7 or 8, my friend Walter and we did a show in the library up the street. And the magic kits were from the 70s. Kids could learn all these tricks. And then I got interested in magic, like David Copperfield, Max Craven. Sorry, Max Craven isn't he an author? Max Maven is a magician. Jay Sankey. Um, let's see. Oh, okay. All right. Well, CerVon is here, so if you give me a minute, I will invite him. Yeah, so I was a magician since I was 7 or 8, and I've done some really excellent tricks. And you know what? I gotta find a special link for him to come on. Okay, here we go. All right, come on. All right, so there he is. Um, and the reason why I'm bringing up the magic is because we got 3 magicians coming up on our podcast in the next month and a half, 2 months. And I'm not going to tell you who they are. So that's why I mention that, because yes, I listen to music types like ABBA and Broadway musicals, jazz. I like jazz, believe it or not. Classical like Bach, Mozart, anything with violin. I found some really great music on Spotify. In fact, uh, I had all this excellent classical music from iTunes, and when I discovered Spotify, I had to look through Spotify to find all the music I had on iTunes because I wanted to get rid of iTunes. So now I have Spotify, and I have like 50 playlists. It's incredible. Um, so let's see. Did I send it to him properly? Or did I do something stupid and send it to myself? No. To CerVon Campbell. Yes. Okay. So he's probably going to show up. So just say sent it. The reason I mentioned that I'm having 3 magicians on the next couple of months is because it's related. That's all I'm going to say. Any other genres? Yes. Basic musicals as well. Old musicals. All right. So looking forward to this. Ladies and gentlemen, our favorite rapper, CerVon Campbell. Hello, CerVon.
Hey, how you doing? I'm so sorry. I'm
That's all
sorry
right.
I'm late.
You know what? I think I made sure that everyone listened to me. So I had my own solo podcast while you were away. Sorry
Yeah, I
that
was listening. I heard you like ABBA. I love ABBA.
yes. I actually I love their new stuff that just came out after 20, what is it? After 40 years it came out with a new album.
Yeah, I really liked it. I was just it's crazy you say that because I was that was bright. It came out of nowhere. I was just listening to Ode to Freedom when I came in.
Yes, that's awesome. Ult to Freedom. Yeah. Love ABBA. Um basically I was mentioning I don't know if you heard me when I said that I actually learned You Gotta Work by Kumo D. It took me so long to learn that one because he's so fast with it, right? And he's
Uh-huh.
like lyrical poetry. You know what it's like, eh, my man? It's just like you've listened to things like Nas, you probably listen to Eminem, you probably listen to Kumo D himself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now we know you're a rapper, and we like you to tell us, everyone who doesn't know you, could you let us know who you are and give us a little backstory of how you became who you are, Servon the Campbell, the rapper?
Um I'm from South Carolina. I've always been a stand-up comic first. I That's how I came into everything. I started traveling with stand-up comedy when I was about 16. And slowly after that, I kind of moved into music a little bit more, and I started singing, I started rapping, I started just, and now, even now, I do anything with music. I try to mix genres. It's crazy you say you seem like you like more operatic music. I just did a very, I guess, contemporary song where you say you love violin. I learned how to play a violin. I got a cello. I did so many different sounds in it. I just love music. I just been trying to learn and kind of, I don't want to say master my craft, but just kind of pretty much that. Just enjoy it and kind of play the songs that I like because I love ABBA. I love Lumineers. I love a lot of folk music and bluegrass and everything. And I just been always trying to combine music.
Bluegrass as well?
I love bluegrass. I think bluegrass is in my top 5 favorite genres.
That is amazing. Wow. That's 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 incredible because you're thinking that someone who likes like an opera singer would only listen to opera, but
Mm,
I know tenors and sopranos that listen to like musical show tunes. Um, they love even when they're watching TV shows with their kids, they like the music that these kids sing, and it's amazing. So, can you tell us how long has music been a part of your life?
um, music has always been. I grew up with my mom as a preacher, and I think when I was about in the 5th grade, I heard like my first non-gospel song,
Oh,
and
really?
from there out, that just kind of like completely opened my mind to the point where like music, like any kind of trivia, really, but specifically music, trivia, like every artist, I know all their music, I know their whole discography, I know all their info. I just have been so fascinated with the music process since around 6th grade. So I've always been really like deeply like tethered to the the creation of music. I love all the different types of things that can come from just anything. Like you said, like a lot of people expect me to listen to like more R&B and more rap stuff, but I think that's like at the bottom of what I listen to. I think my main genre that I listen to the most is probably folk music.
That's interesting because my friend is in Ireland and he's been there for a week and a half. And it just brought to mind we have a musical group called the Irish Rovers. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you ever heard of them.
No,
It's
sir.
a Canadian group, and I've been listening to them since I was younger. And they did all the Irish songs, like the Wellerman. There once was a ship got put to sea. The
I
name of the
love
ship.
that type of music, that
Yes, yes,
flow, and just the storytelling.
exactly.
I love that.
I know. And the rap they call lyrical poetry. Can you give us an idea why you would think it's lyrical poetry? What would you consider rap to be?
I think it's always been a like different levels of hip hop music. I feel like that. I think there's hip hop and there's rap and there's so many subgenres. I think hip hop is where there's a lyrical poetry. I think it's a lot of fun, a lot of craft to it, a lot of well, I mean, well, all of it is, but I think hip hop is the one where it's so versatile and flow and stuff. And I think the confusion, well, not I'm not gonna say confusion. I think the it kind of diverted into rap, where rap I feel like is more hip hop made for radio, made more for like partying and stuff. And I think a lot of people when they think of like lyrical poetry, they think of rap and they think of more like vulgar, more inappropriate songs. And I think that's where rap falls in a lot of times. But I know like if I'm thinking lyrical poetry and like what like hip hop and what rhyming and all of that really is, I think it's storytelling and just the way of going about giving somebody a story.
I agree. Have you ever heard of the Chieftains?
No, sir.
Um, yeah, I've heard of the Chieftains and amazing Irish music and some bluegrass as well
I'll definitely check him out. I've lately I've been into. I found out Steve Martin makes bluegrass music.
with the banjo. Yeah, he's a good
Yeah,
banjo
and
player.
it's lovely. I love banjo. I love
I
it.
know.
That's something I'm trying to incorporate in music now. I want a song with the banjo, but I just can't find anything to fit.
How many instruments can you play? You mind me asking? Besides the
I,
cello, the violin?
I can't play anything, but
Oh,
I what I do is I'll just go like get a bunch of instruments and I'll think, okay, this fits, and I just kind of toy around with it for a long time. Like with Sarah Lynn, it took me like 2.5, 3 months to get all those sounds together, and I just kind of play around until I get something, then I loop it, and just kind of keep playing around until I figure something out.
yeah. I'll tell you one thing. I don't know whether the most hardest instrument to play is either the violin, the oboe, or the French horn. You ever seen someone play the French horn?
Hmm.
How large it is and heavy it is? Like, how do you
So
hold that thing and you're blowing into it?
it's
It's like,
probably that one because you have to have a lot of stamina and you got to have strength to do all that. I would say, but before you would have said that, I would have said violin because that was really
yeah.
hard and just getting everything. It's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I wanted to learn to play the violin, but it's sort of like in my apartment, I'd be playing, except someone would run and say, "Who's killing a cat in here?" You know. But
And I think it's the same. Everybody, I hear a lot of people say everybody should learn one instrument,
yeah,
but it is hard to learn any instrument. I struggled trying to learn piano for years, and I just never could master it.
yeah,
It's not for everybody.
no. But why rap? Why not be a tenor and be like, you know, just sing?
Well, I sing on a lot of my songs. It's a equal balance now. I sing. I think like my song with John Oates. I did.
John
It's a
Oates.
lot more singing than it is rapping. I kind of come in a little bit in rap, but I mainly sing now.
John Oates of Hollow Notes.
Yes, sir. Me and him did a song together a couple of years ago called D&D.
Wow,
Um, his wife heard my music and they reached out to me, and I didn't think it was the real him, and I just kind of was like, kind of messing with him. 'Cause I really didn't think it was the real him, and I was like, we started talking. I said, well, let's do a song together. He said, yeah. He gave me his number, and we talked. I found out it really was him, so I sent him the demo that I had for D&D, and he sent some vocals, and that was it.
that's awesome. Wow, that's an amazing story. Love hearing that. I was a big Hollow Notes fan growing up. Um, Pretty good music. So, um, how did you come to realize that it was like you had like all these genres and you chose rap? So now, when you put a pen to paper, how do you go about writing a rap tune? What do you write first? The harmony, the music, or you do like write a poetry and then you would sing it? How would that work?
Now, well, I start off with the lyrics. And then with the lyrics, sometimes I have a melody, and if I really like, I'm really in love with the melody, then I'll record it. But for the most part, I write the lyrics. I write whatever I'm feeling, wherever I think. Like sometimes it's like I never use this word, and this is a cool word. I want to use this word or a saying or something I hear, and I'll write it down and I piece it together little by little. Or sometimes I'll write the whole song, and then when I'm ready to go to the studio, usually when I go to the studio to record vocals, I have like 24 or so songs, and I'll get in there and I'll record all of them. And when I get there, that's when I start playing with instruments. I'll get a beat because a lot of people send me beats, and I'll get in there and I'll use the beat to kind of come up with the melody that I want to use for it, and then I'll take the beat away, and then I'll just go in and I start playing with the instruments and figure out what's a good sound for it. But right now I'm in a position where I feel like I've been singing for so long, and I'm trying to get a couple of more rap songs. Because you say that, but I did a podcast I think a little like a year ago, and they were like, "You listed as a rapper, but I didn't see that many rap songs." And now I have a few more out there, so I'm trying to get a good balance. So my new stuff, I'm wanting to rap more, I'm wanting to sing more, but I think right now it's a good balance. I've been singing a lot. I started taking singing lessons just to kind of be more rounded in the field. So yeah, I just put out a song, Sarah Lynn, that's just singing, just instruments, just really organic music, and a few other songs. I've been trying to sing. Well, I'm trying to rap more, but I've been singing a lot, so I'm trying to catch up, get a good balance.
Tell us about your song that you wrote called Again.
Again, is I guess it would be a love song. It's like a I don't think it's a love song. It's like a reaching out song. Again, to me is like after a panic attack, after like you just sitting thinking about life and you reach out to. It was me reaching out to an ex, like, hey, it's me, and I say I'm in the lows, but lows for me is depression. My generation, we all have depression. We have some kind of mental illness. So that's what that song was. It was like a hey, I'm feeling a little down, and I just want to talk to you. And with that song, I got to work with. There's this rapper Spose. He had a song on the radio when I was in the 6th grade, and he's been one of my favorite rappers ever since. And I came off a tour one year, and I was like, I followed him, and he just randomly followed me back, and I was like, hey, I'm in love with you and your music. I really want to work with you. And he said, yeah. And we've been playing around with songs for a couple of years, and we finally got that one going.
Well, that's excellent. I'm kind of wondering how you can be a rapper and a comedian at the same time. How do you mix the two? How does that work?
Well, I was doing comedy first, and then I went to talk, kind of touch on more serious stuff, and already had a love for music, and my headlining shows, like I have a couple coming up. I have it so time, especially if I don't have a band, I have it completely timed out, so where a song will come on, it'll be flowing, and then it stops right at a certain time. I'll tell a couple of jokes, and then it picks right back up into the song. But right now, the shows that I've been doing like the past couple of weeks, they're split up. So I had a show this past Saturday, and I did a great. I think it went really well, and it was all stand up. And then the day before, I did a show. It was all music. So it's kind of a little mix of everything going on right now.
Yeah, I can. I wouldn't. I kind of imagine what kind of comedy you would do. I've heard of. I was thinking of that watching that guy, Deliso Chaponda, who showed up on America's Got Talent,
Hmm.
and um, and Preacher Lawson is another one I can
I
think
know
of.
Preacher Lawson.
Yeah, and I love a lot of those comedians, but to have you be funny and a rapper at the same time, that must be quite amazing. Um, so where do you find yourself? Do you find yourself staying as a comedian, staying as a rapper, or still doing both?
Um, it was always a stepping stone thing. I think I
Okay.
started with comedy, and comedy just worked really well. And then I put out a song randomly, and it just did really well. So now with those two, I'm branching off, and I have a friend. Me and him been working on the script. We kind of sort of got somebody to pick it up. So I'm moving more into screenwriting now.
Oh,
I've really just been all over the place. I
wow.
with screenwriting, the deal we're pitching, we're in it, so we're trying to get acting roles. Just kind of want to touch in everything.
Yeah, and then in the end, you're going to end up with what you think you're best at, or you're just going to stay. Like, how do you separate CerVon, the rapper, CerVon, the filmmaker, CerVon, the comedian? Is it easy? Would you be able to separate all of them, are
I
you
think
just
definitely completely different with all of them. I think with my music, I'm more able to be myself, which is I'm kind of introverted. I'm kind of a closed in person. I don't like be touched. So I'm just really in a bubble. So with my music, I can kind of talk about that and I can, venture into it. But with stand up, you have to have a bubbly personality. You have to know how to, work a crowd, and you have to you have to be extroverted. So with stand up, I have to put on more of a character where I'm telling jokes, and that's me forcing myself to be, louder, project, better with my grammar, just being more of a people person. And then with movies and stuff like that and writing, then it's kind of sort of with music where I'm able to tap into any character, whoever I like. If I feel like the story we're writing right now, I'm myself, and it's about things that I observe and things that I see, and it's all about the perspective. So it's my perspective versus other people that are involved writing it, and then all the characters who are based on people and just the way we see things.
That's great. So, what's your creative process like? You just suddenly wake up in the morning, say Eureka, and then write something down and hope. Like, does rap have to rhyme the last word at the end, or
It doesn't. I have a few things where I don't try to rhyme all the time. Sometimes you just find yourself talking or just saying little stuff. It doesn't always have to. I feel like as long as it flows well, it doesn't have to rhyme. My process is with music. I can be driving and I can think of something that rhymes, something that I like, something that I want to say, and I'll just jot it down. And it could be anywhere, and I'll just jot it down. With screenwriting, we've been knocking out a ton of little like mini plays. So the main thing that we pitched and got success with and got picked up it's really just every episode is kind of different, stories, and they come together for something at the end for the finale. And with doing that, I've been able to jot a bunch of ideas of what I saw as big movies, and I can shorten them and make all these different stories and then bring them together with a common theme. So any idea I just kind of write down and just have it there, and at some point it's going to be useful, or at least I try to make it useful.
Yeah. Have you ever, when you performed your song, have you ever forgot a line or a word or
All the time.
so what do you
All the
do
time.
to save yourself?
um the biggest lesson I learned was when doing that, because sometimes I'll get my performance time, like my set just gets pushed longer, so I have to just throw in songs. Just like this next show that I'm headlining, I was asked to do two songs, and then they just said, "Hey, can you do 30 minutes?" So I just end up listing songs from my catalog, and my performance set. What I do is I throw, so it'll just be the instrumental, just the instruments playing, and then I'll put parts of the songs in it. So I know to catch myself. So if I feel like I'm not, confident on this part, then I can sing as much as I know. And in the editing before I perform, I'll make sure I put this line right here, which will remind me, okay, this comes after that. And I just kind of keep putting little reminders basically in the song to keep myself afloat.
Well, that's interesting. What kind of reminders would those be? Is there something you can
So
share? Or?
my song Cedar Falls, it comes on, and so I know where to start. I have the audio of me from the real song on the instrumental. So it starts autumn eyes, and then I come in. Like I'm singing that part because if I catch myself it's time to come in, then I jump in and I'll sing as much as I know. Falling just for trouble. Is it more toxic that I, and
Oh,
then the
nice.
background vocal will say crave you. That way I know, okay, that's the next word. I know where to go. It'll keep me up. So it's the background vocals keep me afloat, so I don't forget. It's just constant reminders with it.
Yeah, it's incredible the way they just, for instance, I was just thinking of when I was mentioning about Cool Mo D and his song "I Go to Work," where it says, "I go to work like a doctor. When I rock the mic, you got to like the way I operate. I make miracles happen just from rapping. I'm so lyrically potent, and I'm blowing and exploding." I'm like, that that took me almost 2 weeks to even learn. And so I sang it on Smule like once, and I said, I can't do this. But it's amazing because I remember an app called Sognify,
Mm-hmm.
and it's from a company called Smule. What you do is you can just take anything. A quote I took like that um, bench scene from Forrest Gump, where he says, "I I like your shoes. I have wonderful shoes and all this stuff. And life is like a box of chocolates." You
Mm-hmm.
just and then it turns everything into rap. So somehow there's an algorithm in a rap that turned what you said into a rap song. It's kind of interesting. So now we're starting with you. You got the pen to paper, and you're writing the first line. What do you do with that first line? How do you make it happen?
I tried, if I'm purposely writing a song, like I get asked to do features a lot. So if somebody's wanting me on their song, I'll hear it and I'll think of the mood, or if I'm working with a producer and I just have free reign, I just think of what am I feeling at that time, and I try to get there. So if I know I want to say this might not be a great opening line. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to come up with something that'll engage you to hook you in, but also to build up to me saying this one line. So it's just it's so many different ways of getting through writing for me. So like I've never struggled with writer's block because I don't really force myself to write. I never sit down and say, okay, for this hour to this hour, I'm writing. I just jot down whenever I feel like it. So I might go a couple of days or so without writing anything new, but it's okay because I have like so much stuff wrote, just line by line, verse by verse, or whole songs, that if I need to, I can just mush it together and come up with something. And I have songs that I really love from doing that. I have songs for like Sarah Lynn where I wrote the whole thing in one sitting in 5 minutes, and it was just exactly how I felt and the whole point that I wanted to come across. And then I have songs like Cedar Falls, for example, or D&D, the song D&D that I made with John Oates. I
Wow.
wrote the whole song, and he just came in and sang and played backup for me. But the whole song, I wrote the first verse, and then later I wrote the second verse, and then later I wrote the rap part. And when he said like, "Hey, I want to hear this song," I had the kind of demo of just these three things that I just put together. And it's like, "Hey, here we go."
One of our viewers said that they listened to little Sarah Lynn and she's got amazing sound.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for listening. I think that's one of
Um,
my favorite songs by me right now.
yeah. Is it true? I know that I'm going to talk about Kumo D again. He actually wrote "I Gotta Work." He placed these lyrics in there to show you how a rap lyric is made. Can you verify this? He
Mhm.
says that he built a rhyme. Sometimes it climbs so erect skyscrapers look like atoms, car electrons rolling in patterns, writing out word after word. With each letter, it becomes visibly better. Because my foundation built the nation of rappers, and after I came off faction, I came to Rome, the land I own, and stand alone on a microphone. Daddy's home, open the door, playtime is over. So basically, if you look at the whole song, it's basically he's describing how rappers would write a lyric and write. Um, does it get into some writer's blocks, or do you kind of rack your brain? So what is that word? What rhymes with? Is that how you work, or you just is it
I
flow
can
for
admit
you?
it's been times where I've been writing and I just didn't know what word to come next, or I knew what word I wanted to use, but like I knew what a word that like terrific, for example, I knew like that would be a great word, but I also know like I don't want to use terrific. That's too easy of a word. So I might Google synonyms for this word, or words that mean this, and I do that. I do that a lot. So with writer's block, it's so many ways to get into it, so many ways to get out of it. Because I have songs where I'm like, everything is great. I just need one more line, and you just get stuck trying to think of what's that last line that you need.
I never knew that John Oates actually wrote rap. I thought he was just specifically um, part of. It's amazing what you discover. Thank you for letting me know that.
Well, I know he's wrote a ton of songs. The majority of the Hall and Note songs he wrote, but with my song, I wrote my song to all myself, but I had the writer credit that him and his wife get is I had a background vocal. I had a melody playing throughout my main melody. So he wanted to re-sing that part, but he changed the wording a little bit and he made it his own with the background vocal. So our song it comes on "Light Up Your Darkest Hour."
Mm.
Um, I forget the next part, but he's singing that part, and I had a original part that I wrote, and we changed it, and he made that. But the main, vocals of the song are pretty much mine. I think I wrote, I would say, the majority of it. I don't know if he ever made like a complete rap song, and I think it was really cool for him to work with me, like with my background, because I never really been just like I'm not like gangster rapper or nothing crazy like that. I just always talked about feelings and things that I had going on around me, but still I didn't think he would want it to work. I never like would have imagined. So when he followed me, that just was a completely different feeling.
Well, that's amazing. Um, yeah, so we got your performance down, but if you could perform anywhere in the world, where would it be? And who would you prefer would be in the audience listening? The Queen, the president, or have you thought who you'd want to perform with at
I'm
some
thinking
point?
about who I want to perform with because I got the chance to tour and open for one of my like favorite artists, and I always wanted to be on stage with him,
Oh
and that's
wow.
Labyrinth. He I have it framed where he followed me on Instagram. Like I love the guy so much, and I want to
Wow.
talk to him so bad. I want to set it up, but I think he's somebody I would want to perform with. Who I would want to perform for, I never really thought about that. I know like places and venues I want to perform at, like of course like Coachella and all these cool places and festivals, but I don't know who I want to perform for. I think my number one goal is to perform, be the host and musical guest of SNL. That's my number one goal in life.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah,
If that
that's number
happens, I
one.
really want to record that one.
Please do. I'm I'm pushing it. I'm playing it into existence. That is my number one goal.
I think
My
you
number
will.
two goal.
Mhm.
My number two goal was to perform at Laugh Factory, and I got the chance to do that, and I think that was a beautiful experience. So
You
SNL's
know, you have a
next.
dream. Follow it through. I think that your dream's going to be reality one day. You will end up in SNL. Because I
Thank
have a
you.
family member that texts me and said SNL is on tonight on like a Saturday, and it's a musical guest. Is this and then he's going to say one day musical guest is CerVon Campbell. I'm like, yeah, I got to record it. I know that
Please do.
guy. We're friends. You know, it'll be awesome. So what makes you different from other rappers in the industry?
Um, I don't know. I think when I think about my music and I compare it to other people, which causes a ton of different feelings sometimes. When I try to compare my music, I always think of this quote by this artist Post Malone, where
Oh
he
yeah, I like
said,
him. Good
he
support.
doesn't make great. He doesn't feel like he makes great music. He makes relatable music. So I think my fan base and all the people that listen and follow me, I feel like we have a connection where we go through similar things. We all felt maybe like some kind of sadness in life. We felt we had breakups and all this kind of stuff, and I just think we're connected in that sense. So I think what makes me different, if I do have a difference, is I've always been positive. So like with D&D is saying that whole song with John is words of affirmation. So a lot of people in their music, when they're like, I'm sad, they make songs where it's like, I'm sad, I'm gonna do drugs, I'm gonna do this. I made that song so you can so people that sing along, they can say, I'm not depressed. I'm not gonna have these thoughts again. And you're just speaking positivity over yourself.
So what do you think of people like? What do you think of groups like Imagine Dragons and Blue October, my favorite bands? Um, are they? Do you feel that if let's say Imagine Dragons, let's say Brad Reynolds, the lead singer,
Mm-hmm.
and asked you to open up for his band, would you do that?
I would 100% do it. Imagine Dragons is one of my favorite bands. I know just about every lyric to almost all their songs. I love them.
Wrecked. Would you consider Wrecked a rap song? Because
Wrecked.
it sound like one.
But, well, I think a lot of stuff that they do, they're singing so fast. So I think the lines of what rap is has been like changed a lot. But they do have songs where they are really close to rapping. Like
What's it goes like? Well, the first words would be like, "Days pass by and my eyes stay dry, and I think that I'm okay till I find myself in conversation fading away." See, rhyming. So love the group. Sorry, I didn't mean. Go ahead.
oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I completely agree. I think they have a lot of rap influence in them. So I know they have songs like Zero.
Yep.
That's pretty much rapping. So yeah, they're there in a lot of ways.
Yep, Demons. Basically, they got a lot of great songs, and I already created a whole list of my own favorites on there. And yeah, it's just what you like to listen to, and then what you want to hear. Um, but I want to ask, is there like a okay when you're driving? Is there a
Mm-hmm.
track that you like to have blaring in the stereo with the windows down while you're driving down the road?
Um, my song right now that I just am obsessed with is this song called "Free" by the singer Sylvan Esso. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I loop it all the time. I love it so much. That is my go-to song right now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's excellent. Um, do you feel so? What artist do you think you would harmonize best with? Would it be him or would
Um,
it be Post Malone? How would you know who you harmonize well with?
just experimentation. There's this group another group that I grew up listening to and fell in love with and got the chance to work with is Matt and Kim. I love them so much, and I never would have imagined us on a song, but we put out so many like practice songs, and we did a ton of demos together, and I didn't think we would harmonize. So I think it's all about experimentation. By choice, if I had the chance, I would love to work with Sylvan. So, um, I don't know who I would harmonize best with though. I never thought about who would be the best fit.
Would you be consider yourself a Eminem fan? Maybe Eminem would.
He's another. I know just about every word of his songs. I love Eminem.
Yeah. Well, one of our viewers says that the Imagine Dragons song "Believer" comes close to rapping, and I actually believe her because I've heard "Believe"
Mm-hmm.
her, and it's like it just has this sort of lyrical poetry. I love it when you can just rhyme. Now, Brad
Mm-hmm.
Reynolds wrote the song "Wrecked" for a sister-in-law who was married to his brother, and she had got cancer and she died. She passed away. So he wrote a song for her. And if you go and check out the video of Imagine Dragons Wrecked, it's actually about her and how it started. And in the end, it's not really her, but it's a girl on the beach. It's really interesting. But I love that. So how would you spell that rapper? What's his name again? Um, the one that you just mentioned.
Labyrinth.
Yeah, no, yeah. How
Um, Labrinch.
Rynth?
I think that's how you
Okay,
spell it.
so he just spells it the same way. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So what artist would you like to collaborate with? Would it be Labyrinth?
Of course, yeah, I would love to collaborate with him. Kanye West followed me like a little under a year ago, and I don't know. I don't think I could even handle it if I had the chance to talk to him. I would love to work with Kanye West. Those are like complete like huge artists. I think artists in my field, like my level right now. There's this girl. I don't want to say level. I'm nowhere near her. But there's this girl Grace Weber that I want to work with so much.
Yeah. It's excellent though. I've heard all your music and I really like it, and I actually chose.
Thank you.
And yeah. Uh, why did you write a song like Illuminati? Like what was why did you feel that you needed to write a song called Illuminati?
It's just the play on what Illuminati meant. I made Illuminati. That was like my first radio song. I made it in 2016. Illuminati is kind of a love song, but it's more of a like I guess passive aggressive love song because it's Illuminati. If you know what Illuminati is, it's about giving up your mind, body, and soul. And I had just watched this movie where that's the kind of love that they wanted. So in the song, it's just me breaking it down and talking about that kind of love where you're giving up so much of yourself and just like exploring the avenues of it and exploring like the people who usually fall into the category of that kind of love. If that makes sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. So let's go back now to when you were younger. Was when did you start? Who was the first rapper that you started following?
The first non-gospel song I ever heard in my well that I remember that resonated with me that I just went to myself was Kanye West. And I think of rappers, he has the most influence, so it'd probably be him.
Wow, seriously, that's interesting. Um, I want to mention of these Christian rappers. Want to know if you've heard of them before? Flame,
I haven't.
Cannon,
I heard of him.
Social Club Misfits.
Don't think I've heard of him.
John Keith is another rapper.
Don't think I've heard of him.
T Bone,
Mm-mm.
DC Talk. Of course, everyone's heard of DC Talk. They're considered rappers.
I haven't. I'm not
Really?
big into gospel rap. I listen to a ton of gospel music, but not a whole lot of gospel rap.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the first one I ever heard was Cool Mo D. My nephew liked Cool Mo D. Even Bart Simpson liked Cool Mo D. He wanted to change his name to Cool Mo D. So that's excellent. I really appreciate those answers. So, where do you think the future of the music industry lies? Do you think
Um,
there's a music genre that's going to come out strong in the end? Do you think they're all going to come out the same? You think one genre is going to be totally lost, and people 50 years from now are going to think, what kind of music is that? Because when I heard about, um, I think it's, well, no doubt is ska. Ska, no doubt is considered ska. And when I first heard of ska, I had no idea what that was. And they said, that's no doubt.
Mm.
Ska. Like, why is
I
No
think if
Doubt?
any genre starts to fade, I think it'll be country music because
Okay.
country music is not at all what it used to be.
Mhm.
It's really a lot more pop music now. Cause
That's
like
true.
country music that I listen to Johnny Cash and like Conway Twitty. So that doesn't sound
Oh,
anything like Luke Bryant. You know, it's like a completely big. It's a huge change from where it originated. So I think that's the only one that's kind of dying out. It's not the same level of, I don't know, love and kind of authenticity. Like it's no like, I wouldn't even say Country Roads is a country song, but it's, that folky, country feeling. So, but it's not there anymore. So I think that one would be. I think the future of music is is a lot of just like not hit or misses, but just like artists popping in, artists popping out, like always. But now with all the technology, everybody is gonna be just putting out. Everybody's putting out so much music and so much content where it all is gonna just start blurring together because everybody is kind of, I listen to rock and I listen to this and I listen to this and they're fusing it. So it all is kind of mixing together slowly.
yeah, I think you're right, and it might eventually become some sort of other genre. Could be like AI genre
Yeah.
where music is created. I was watching another show, and they took old Jimi Hendrix. They took Jimi Hendrix sounds of who's the one that recently, I can't remember her name now, but anyway, they took their sounds and they made new music with the AI. And who, I can't remember her, what's her name? She passed away, but she's anyway. But yeah, I think something like ska. I mean, like, is that just something that just three genres put together or something?
And that's what a lot is now. There's so many different subgenres now. So when submitting music and all this, you have to know the exact genre that your mute song was. And there's, I think, like 15 actual genres, but there's like hundreds of subgenres and mixtures and fusions. So it all's going to blur together a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, there's. Do you think auto tune is cheating?
Um, in a sense, and the use of autotune really slows a lot of people down because they rely heavily on it. But I think it's like, I don't even want to say like a fair kind of cheating. It's just, I don't even think it levels the playing field because a lot of people, most of the time with autotune, it's there, so you can tell like who can legitimately sing and who's using autotune.
But I think it's cheating because they claim that people like Britney Spears use auto tune. But then in the days before auto tune, I don't know if you know who Grace Slick is. She was
Mm-mm.
a member of the singing group Starship Jefferson Airplane before it
Mm-mm.
became Jefferson Starship. Jefferson Airplane. Uh, Grace Slick sang that song White Rabbit, and they did an amazing where they took the music from the song and they just have her singing, no auto tune, no nothing, and she sounds amazing. But if you have to take a singer and you have to use auto tune to make them sound good, like anybody else, you can take anybody off the street and say, "Here, sing this song," and they'll sound absolutely terrible, and then they put auto tune to it, and they can make you sound like a professional, and I think that's cheating.
It's levels to it because there's artists like, I don't know if she uses it, but I mean Britney Spears, but I mean it's not like a Milli Vanilli where they have somebody completely
Yeah.
different singing the song. So I
Fab
think that's
Morgan, yeah.
cheating. But with autotune, it's, if you really can't sing, it's gonna sound super robotic. But there are songs where you want it to sound robotic, and there are songs where you kind of sort of need it, but don't. You might miss a little bit of a key because every singer, even if they sound great, they might miss a key, they might miss a note, and pitch shift, it just kind of like pushes it up and gives like a little bit of a boost. Because I have songs like songs like Rest where I'm not using autotune at all and it sounds solid. I have songs like Sarah Lynn where I'm not using autotune at all. But I
Oh,
have
really?
songs like what's it called, Cedar Falls, where I'm using autotune and I'm pushing it up to get that more robotic feel. It's just something more playful a lot of times. So I mean, it is singers who rely heavily on it, but I think when they use it, it's never to give the thought that they can really sing. I think it just adds like a little playfulness to it in some aspects. Cause like T Pain, the person I feel like brought so much attention to autotune,
Hmm.
he can sing beautifully without it.
So why do you think they use it then? Why not just get rid of it?
Because I mean, it adds like a level to it. Like they want sometimes they want the robotic feel. Sometimes they it adds to the song because T Pain has a lot of songs where the robotic thing to it, it just makes the song more playful and more, of a club song for in that sense. So like in the songs where I use it, I might want a like I have a song that I'm making now where there's little oohs, and I didn't really fully like record it. I did it like ooh, and I just shot it all the way up to have little like Alvin and the Chipmunk little oohs, and the auto tune just kind of keeps it there and keeps it the song kind of floating. Where it's not that I'm trying to pretend that I can sing, but it's a different effect. It's something different. It's something like I don't know how to describe it, but I think to get rid of it completely, it'll change the way music, the direction that it's headed. But it'll take away a lot of the fun of song. Like Post Malone, he uses it a lot, and he doesn't need to at all. His voice using it, his voice without it, they're two different things, and it's two different feelings. He has a country singer's voice, but him with auto tune, he kind of pushes himself in like a rock field and stuff. So it's something playful, I think.
Yeah, I believe if you heard of T Pain, he actually said that he can sing. He proved it on The Masked Singer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if you remember what if you see that show. You have these singers who are dressed up in kind of like these outrageous costumes, and one of them was T Pain, and he proved that
Mm-hmm.
he could sing, um, which is very interesting. I don't know if you're familiar with uh, the Human League at all.
I'm not.
That's an '80s band. It's actually it contains the singing of Phil Oakey, Joanne Cathro, and Susan Ann Sully, and they're a group, but they're also actually a corporation as well. They took the group and they all own part of the corporation. So if Philip leaves or Catherine leaves, then Sue Ann Sully or one of the members gets in, and everyone should work the way according to Human League works. And why you would find you go and go into like an office, corporate office, and you meet a money manager, and he says he used to be a rapper back in the '80s, and he said, well, what happened? He says, well, about losing money and not finding the right people, and he had producers, directors that took money because really, the singer or the artist doesn't get all the money. Usually, it's the producers, the um, the director, everything. They get more. How do you feel that going in the near future? Do you think that's going to be changed at all? You think the
It's changed a
artists
lot
will get
now.
more
I
money?
think a lot. It just depends on how you have it set up because some artists they want to work with these big producers and they might not be able to afford it, so they get a bigger cut. I know like John is a bigger artist and it's a lot that he covered and he a lot that he put into it, but he doesn't get a bigger cut just because of like little stuff that he does. It's just how you form your deal. So there's artists who like there's songs that sample and take from other artists. So, the person that they kind of sort of stole from in a sense, they get a big share of it. And with producers, songs that I write for other people, I just said, like, hey, I want this much from it. And, or they might say, hey, I can't afford to pay you this much. I'll give you this much of the song. It's just how you work out your deal. So I have songs that I own fully, like 100%, all the masters to, and I just paid whoever for their part, and we cut ties there. It's
Wow.
just however you decide to work it. So in the sense, it's like sometimes it's beneficial to say, hey, I'm gonna give you this majority of this song, and sometimes it's not. It's just what's the most affordable at that time or in the long run.
That's amazing. Are you planning to uh, release an album pretty soon, like a full-fledged album?
I've put out albums before, and then I taking them down, and I'll just put some of the songs back out as singles. Right now, I'm writing. I don't have plans for like a big album. I barely have plans for singles. But I'm touring right now, so I'm just kind of locked in the mindset of doing these shows and coming up with new material for stand up, and I'm writing a show. So I'm locked into that. Actual recording of new music, I don't really have a whole lot of idea of.
Okay, well, I'm a new artist. Let's say, for an example, I'm a new artist and I want to get into music, and I haven't decided whether I want to be an R&B artist, I wanted to get in hip hop, want to be an opera singer, whatever. But just say that I'm an artist, and
Mm-hmm.
then I meet you. So, what is the one message or the one piece of advice you would give me where to start? Would you give me the ups, the downs, the pitfalls? What would you say?
I think the best thing that you can do as a new artist, or just as an artist in general, is to just do what you want to do. I think the best advice I was given is don't take advice, because like Jay Z says at one point, when people say you can't do something, it was they couldn't do it. Doesn't mean you can't, because when I first started, I was doing things that another artist was doing to get famous, but it didn't work for me. I had to figure out something else that worked for me specifically. So, as a new artist, if you don't know if you want to be a rapper, a singer, or whatever, be all of it. Like I don't see myself necessarily as a rapper, because I have country songs, I have bluegrass songs, I've done rock songs, I've covered every single genre at this point now, and like I just do what I want. So like anytime I'm signing contracts or signing deals or whatever, right now I'm negotiating a new contract with the label,
Nice.
and I say right off the back I want creative control, because I don't want you to, like, my first label offer that I had was this record label Glassnote, and the thing they were telling me was, we want you to make this kind of music, and we want you to stay like this. This is a song that worked for you, that got our attention. Stay here. And that didn't sit well with me, because
Oh,
at that
wow.
point I was just learning, like playing on guitar, and I was like, no, I want to incorporate guitar into some of my songs. I want to do this. I want to do this. So keep the curiosity. If you want to do R&B, pop, country, rap, you can do all of those things on one song. I have a song called Gom. It's it's GOMN, and it stands for Girl of My Nightmares. And it has a bluegrass. That song does have a banjo. It has bluegrass elements. It has rock and heavy blues elements. I'm singing in it a lot, and I rap a little bit, and it
Nice.
covers all genres. And it's just, you just do what you want to do. With sounds, like basic, like, hey, do what you want to do, but you just can't stay with the limits that, like, especially record labels give you. So if you want to do all those genres, do all those genres.
Yeah, if you want to. Do you feel that you're going to eventually write all these songs, and then I mean, people like Prince, even the Beatles, and a few other artists, they have written over the years music that never once went on an album, and even Prince, I believe, can have 100 albums released the next 20, 30 years of unreleased music because he just kept writing and writing and writing. Is that
Mm-hmm.
something that you would feel that you would do, is just write all this music, and 20, 30 years from now you would end up with like maybe 10 or 15 albums and still have music left to write, still have music left to release?
Probably, because even now, like, where I'm new, like me with the new record label, I was gonna come out with a new song, and we was gonna announce, hey, we're together, this, that, and this. I'm signed now, but the song that we've been prepping since like December, I decided today, hey, I don't feel like this best represents me and what kind of music that I want to make. It's to me, it sounds too radio like, so I said no today. So I mean, it's back to the drawing board. I'm trying to figure out something else, or maybe look into old songs that I didn't do anything with. And maybe at one point I might actually like this song, but for right now, it just doesn't sit well with me. So like I have so much unreleased music that I don't see myself putting out. It was just stuff that I was toying around with and ideas.
Yeah, I got like four songs I wrote like 20 some odd years ago, and I'd like to maybe update them. I myself would love to come up with my first single, would love to end up with an album. Um, and I'm not saying because my age is too late, I'm just saying that I wouldn't know how to do it. And your piece of advice that you just mentioned is something I should look to, and may just start with one song at a time, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's the best. It's so many studios around, and if not,
yeah,
then it's so easy to get the material to record yourself, and
yeah.
especially going back to it and working with it. I think that's always great. The show that we pitched, the idea I had was an idea I came up with my freshman year of high school, and every year I just come back to it and kind of rewrite. And the level that it was at when I pitched it to him, I didn't think it was great. I changed it a lot since then, but it worked. Just kind of just stay, editing it and working with it.
Yeah, that's so true. Is there a certain formula you follow when you write, or is it all just generic?
I come up with something different every time. Like I have some songs that kind of similar, in structure, whereas sing hook, and then I might rap, or vice versa. Um, just whatever. I don't always have a specific formula. It's just however the song comes out. Because sometimes I've switched parts where I'm like, this verse doesn't go well here. I'm gonna switch it with this one, or whatever way.
What do you think of the music copyrights they have these days? And I believe it's still in practice, but years ago, the thing was you could use anybody, any artist, any band's riff, but only 7 seconds worth. If you use 8 seconds, you get sued. Is that still a thing?
It's I don't not to my understanding because it's a part that I wanted to put into a song a little while ago, but it was too close and it was just a loop of like 2 seconds. So I don't think so. I think it's and this is so many lawsuits out there against artists. Like somebody stole this sound and all this stuff. From my understanding, if you use any of it, you have to credit and you have to pay. And a lot of times, the main thing I know now is when you're using something or somebody, you have to add on to it. So with the um, Vanilla Ice and Queen song,
Yeah,
Vanilla Ice
especially
version is actually very different, but they sound really
unfortunate.
similar. And he
Yeah.
get away with it because it is a difference there. It's a slight difference that you might not catch, but when you catch it, you'll see it is a really big difference. And that's what saved him where he was able to get away with it.
Is that why Vanilla Ice slipped under the radar? Because, like, was it his original song or was it David Bowie's original song?
It was David Bowie's original song, but
Oh,
David Bowie's song is dun 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 dun,
yeah.
and Vanilla Ice song is dun 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 dun. It sounds so similar, but it's an extra second of I don't know
Yeah.
how to. It's it's a lot of little nuance differences there
It's
where
always
like
nuance.
I can if I hear it now for the most part I can catch it sometimes at the store, but it is a nuance there that's different in them, and that's what saved him from not really getting sued heavily or like getting in trouble, and he got to still use the song. But yeah, but it I don't think it's right. I don't think artists should be able to just steal stuff. I think you have to pay homage and give credit to where it's due. But now you don't really have to as much. Well, no, now you have to a lot, but then you didn't have to as much.
Do you know your music so well that if an artist stole like 3 seconds of a riff from like Illuminati or something, would you recognize it as your own?
Sometimes something that I've made has been used in a lot of different stuff just because like I made it with somebody and he's a producer and he puts out a lot of stuff. So the fact that we came up with it together, like I still get credit. Like I don't get credit, but I still get paid from it. But the fact that it's used so much and I hear it used so much, it's kind of like I catch it and I think it's funny. But like with lines and stuff, I don't always catch it. And sometimes like I have a lawyer and I have different people who are like, oh, yo, that's this and this that. So they'll catch on to it. I won't always catch it. 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna catch it.
So you have everything listed. You have the lawyers and the copyrights and everything. So, um, what if you post a song and someone instantly steals it, or what if like how do you prevent people from copying your music during concerts, like recording? Because I know that Tom York from Radiohead, before, I think it's still even today, he said that before we start, you're allowed to record our band, you're allowed to post it. What do you think of that? You think that's wrong for him to?
No, I think because sometimes people put out unreleased music and it's open to get stolen and stuff like that. But I don't. I like all of my music before I submit it to my label or my distributor, whoever. I have it copyrighted. So when somebody do have parts of my song and theirs, it's caught and stopped. Like not stopped, but I'm credited on YouTube or um what's it called? Shazam and places like that.
Yeah,
So it'll say, hey, this is so this is whatever song by this person, and I'll have a credit as a writer or producer or something because they have parts elements of my song in it.
that's very interesting. I know a lot of artists get a lot of whack, like they go like Katy Perry and all them, like, oh, stole my song. Like the court case where Beyonce's song Halo
Mm-hmm.
and Kelly Clarkson's song, I believe it's one of her love songs, um, and they both sound the same. But when Halo
Mm-hmm.
was released, she couldn't release her song because they sounded alike. So there's always an issue with that with
I think it just
songs.
depends on who it is and their level of pettiness. So like with me, the way that my lawyer, like the way we have it set up, is we automatically get a percentage. But if they don't ask me, I can take as much as I want to. You kind of have that right. But if they don't ask and we notice it, I think our thing is like we only take like 5% of royalties. Like we don't like I don't care that deep. I'm if they ask me, I'm gonna just give it to them. I don't care. I'm happy that I'm appreciative that they would even care to take something from me. But
Oh yeah,
little
yeah.
riffs and stuff like that every so often, I don't care.
Wow. Um, so you were mentioning about gospel tunes and stuff when you were growing up. Why didn't you follow your heart as a believer? Why
Oh,
didn't
I
you
still
start?
do.
Okay,
I
good.
still have gospel songs that I didn't put out. Me and my wife Kay, we just started. We're about to lead a youth ministry at a church that we've been going to. So
Excellent.
with my tour dates, I made sure that I'm here on Sundays. I'll travel out throughout the week, but I'm back on Sundays. We've been we're steady church people. Unless she's off doing something or something she's busy, 9 times out of 10 I'm at church.
That's excellent because I sing a lot of contemporary songs as well. So I kind of like a whole bunch of genres like gospel, and then I go to jazz, and then I go to Christian contemporary. Then I like all styles of music, but
Mm-hmm.
um, there's some haunting music out there as well. Stuff that just kind of gives you shivers. That you just like some of the music that they come out with these days are just amazing. Um,
Yeah, it's like I can't do like heavy metal and stuff like that. It bothers
oh,
my spirit. I can't do it.
what song of yours do you think took the longest, and which one took the shortest amount of time to write?
To write the shortest song to write was like one of the longest songs to make. I wrote Sarah Lynn in like probably 5 minutes,
Five
and
minutes.
to actually make it, it took me like 3 months or so because I had to learn these different instruments and all these different sounds. But then the songs like D&D where I wrote each verse, in different parts of time, but the actual production of it that took a long time, and the lyrics kind of took a little bit of time, and then working with John and we're on different schedules, that took a long time. Um, to write, I don't know what song took me a long time to write. I think Miss Universe is a song of mine that took a long time to write because it was some stuff in it that I didn't want to say, and some stuff that I thought, okay, I could write this and I can get away with it because it was me in a relationship. trying to say that I didn't want to be in a relationship. Same with the song Love Bug, where it was just like I wrote that young, so I kind of cussed a good bit in it. But it's like, bro, I am miserable here. But like, I care about you, I like you. It's just we're not compatible. So it's stuff that I wanted to say. So it's like if I wrote it and I put it out, then I'm gonna get flack for it. But it just takes a while to kind of get comfortable with saying stuff.
What do you think of Moby? Because he takes some, um, like for instance, the song "Natural Blues."
Mm.
Hey Lordy, troubles of God. Did you know that is a riff that was taken by, I think, 1920s song by Vera Hall. He took that and he plugged it into that song "Natural Blues." So that actually isn't him singing; it's Vera
Mm.
Hall. So that little bit there, oh Lordy, that's over 75 years old, and he that became a hit. Um, Basically, do you find yourself doing something like that? Just taking like a song like "Troubles So Hard" by American folk singer Vera Hall and just taking someone else's song, maybe from the 30s and 40s, and plopping it there in a rap tune and writing lyrics around it? Or do you
I've done
prefer?
it in I've done it in some cases. There's a singer, girl, her name is Girl in Red. That's her stage name.
Oh, okay.
And I worked with this producer and he sampled her singing on live one day. So she would just it was her and her ukulele. She was just kind of singing the song. He loved it. He sampled it, and we went. I didn't know that it was her at first. So when he like we're going over stuff, I'm like, okay, I really want to use this. I want this sample. There's ways to get around stealing somebody's vocals and stealing stuff from them, and that's the process he was going. So when I didn't know this is somebody else, but he had it pitched really high, so it was kind of a deeper voice, and it was a deeper voice and a really higher voice played at the same time. So I don't recognize the voice. I don't know her music to recognize her vocals. I'm just thinking it was something he was singing, and he edited it to have a deep voice and have a really high Alvin and Chipmunk kind of voice.
Oh, wow.
So we're getting set up to steal this song, and we could have got away with it probably, but once like we're like sending in documents and getting everything approved and stuff like that, somebody recognized the lyric, and I asked him about it. He was like, "Oh yeah, is this that and this?" And I'm like, "This could come back later. They could find this on the technicality or something like that." And some people will ignore it, but if the song blows up, like Blurred Lines, for example, if it blows up, they're gonna want their part of it,
Yeah.
and I don't want to have that kind of problem later. So we completely took it out. We came up with a whole different melody, and we just left it alone. It's something that like I still have, and I still look back on like I'm gonna use this at some point. I just haven't been like found anything. I'm just like I have to have this right now. But it's a lot of songs that I want to like. I know like I put together like a cover CD, like cover album of just songs I'm like re-singing, and I want to put that out at some point. But I don't know. I'm not big on sampling.
Yeah. What about your family? You have a family of siblings, or is your wife musical? Do they have any singing voice or play any instruments?
My wife, when we first got together, she was just kind of then starting to quit dancing. She was on the dance team and she
Oh, wow.
danced in college and stuff like that. And she was just kind of calming down, switching from that. Um, my dad, he's been in a cover band forever, and he was big, like not getting me into it. I didn't want to come back doing shows from COVID, but he
Wow.
was already back on the road selling out shows and doing a great job. So he asked me to come and tell a couple jokes. I had a good time. So then from then on out, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna set my tour back up. I'm gonna go back and hit the road. And that was a couple of months ago. So like he's musical, but for the most part, not many of us are.
Yeah. Was it hard during the when the pandemic started to were you still able to do your music, but you did more of it online, or how did that work for you?
When the pandemic hit, I was already saying, okay, I think I'm done with all this stuff.
Mm.
I had just had an acting thing that was about to happen. Then COVID happened. We got shut down. And then when they picked back up, I didn't feel like relocating at that point because I was just getting married, so I didn't really feel like doing it. So COVID, but when COVID happened, I had I was done with. I had just finished school. I was in my like year and a half into me being a teacher because that's what I wanted to do originally. So when I graduated high school, I was on the radio and I started touring a little bit, but I was still doing college work. I was still going to college. So once I started teaching, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. COVID happened, all the schools got shut down. So I just kind of chilled out. I did not have any plan. Like I was putting out music and stuff like that, but I was like, okay, it was different like checkpoints that I was like, I'm gonna come back because I said I was done, and then John hit me up. Him and his wife contacted me, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a song with John Oates. And then I said,
Nice.
okay, I'm done. Then Spose finished the part and said, hey, let's do this song. It was just stuff that kept bringing me back. So yeah, COVID was just a roller coaster. I was trying to quit a lot.
Yeah, I know from a lot of other artists that some of them had to end the performing, and they thought like someone like Chris Mann. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but
Mm-hmm.
he did. He you ever heard of the Knack? My Sharona. He did a version of My
Mm-hmm.
Corona. It's actually pretty funny. And now he does online music. And then Adam Sandler and Pete Davidson, they came up with a song about COVID as well. And it was a nice tune. You should actually look it up. It's really
Mm-hmm.
good. And so you just had to do that. You can't perform anymore because you had to social distance. I don't know about now. I think everyone's just coming out of it. But I know we had a soprano who's now has her whole calendar is now filled with going out there and performing in real life now. But last year and the year before that, you couldn't do that, so you had to do everything online. So you have online concerts and everything, and yeah, that's good for you. And so, but I get you didn't mention whether you had any siblings that actually were musical as well.
Oh no, my brother, he thought at one point he wanted to be a singer, he wanted to be a rapper, he wanted to try different stuff, but he just didn't stay consistent. It wasn't really anything he was like, like really passionate about.
Yeah.
But I had a passion for stand up, so like he supported me and we just kind of, like I supported him and the other stuff he wanted to do. He wanted to start his own business, so he had my support with that, and I stuck to stand up, so he supported me with that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty amazing. Um, Yeah, and soon, maybe when the time goes on, you'll get even more famous musicians asking you to sing with them, like Sting, maybe Sting and CerVon. Like, hey, Shaggy, if Shaggy and Sting did an album together, and Sting and Sugar Fornicieri did an album together, and then I don't know if you heard of Chris Botti, who's a trumpeter.
Mm.
He did a song with him. So I mean, you gotta spread yourself very open because
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like
none of the people I've been working with were people I thought that I would work with. Because even with John, we have other songs that we still like have plans on doing stuff with. But that's why I so like saying Sting. That's before John. I would have said it ain't no way. But like now, like I didn't work with John. He didn't introduce me to all these people. But it's like that could happen. There's a lot of stuff that could happen. Even with stand up, like right before the pandemic, I had opened for Dana Carvey, and I was like, nah, that wouldn't happen. I didn't see that happening. And it's just you meet cool people and you get great opportunity.
well, I have a few dreams myself. One relating to having a really big name on my podcast, and the second thing is a really big name that I would be duetting with, and I'll share that one with you, which is Josh Groban. Actually, people say I sound like
I
him
love
quite a
him. I
bit.
love his voice.
Josh Groban, and
Mm.
I'm actually want to get out there and perform again. I want to actually get into some sort of group and if allowed just to travel because I was part of a men's group at my church, and it was consisted of me, three men, and the pastor. We went out and we just started singing. It was excellent, and then I did a lot of duets with my wife at that time. She was a flautist, and but I don't know any other instruments. Maybe the recorder. With you, you got all these instruments like the cello and the violin. You should learn these things, and you're probably going to end up going to buy a banjo at some point, and then drums, and you're going to end up
Well,
playing.
I have all this stuff now. I have
Oh,
the drums, the cello, the banjo. I have
excellent!
guitars, electric guitars. Yeah, I just collected so much of it because all of my music has like has beats and fake music, like I would say, like keyboard stuff, but it has a lot of like actual like real instruments in it. And I always trying to learn something.
Yeah, I grew up with this girl. She's probably listening now, but she'll probably watch at some point. She knows who she is. I won't give her name, but she used Cubase quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
A very expensive musical software allows you to create your own band, but now they have GarageBand, which is another one.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose you can create a whole song with GarageBand and play the drums, play the guitar, play the violin, play the flute, all electronically. Okay, now it's question time, but we're going to do it
Okay,
this way. Number one, we're going to ask you questions as a comedian and questions as a rapper. So choose which question you want for. You want me to ask you questions to the rapper or ask you questions to the comedian?
let's go comedian.
Okay, comedian. Here's the first question. What's the funniest thing you heard from a fan during one of your comedies?
Um, I was doing this show, and right before I came up, well, the show was a church show. So, of course, we're clean and stuff like that. And they kept saying, hey, make sure you keep it clean. Like that was in all the emails and stuff. Not to me, but the girl that was opening, they were like, hey, make sure you know this is a clean show. So we get there, and while we're performing, well, while she's performing, she has a joke about Holly Berry, and there's this drunk guy in the crowd that's just talking to her the whole time, and she's like, why can't Holly Berry ever keep her kid in a movie? Because in all of the movies, she's getting the kid taken, or she's getting her dog taken, she's getting something taken, and the guy screams out because she's a hoe, and everybody kind of like loses it, like, hey, this was a clean show. And then it just kind of flips where he's saying all this wild stuff. So like when I came on next, it was like I had no choice but to address it. And I think that was just the funniest thing, just because of things that, like, if you just say it, it's not funny, but like it just changed the mood of everything, so it makes it hilarious. So the fact that we're at a church and he's drunk, it just kind of, everything was weird. And yeah, I think that was one of the funniest experiences.
Yeah, that's not what you want. I remember being in church with that. I remember that a girl pulled the thing away from me, and I just fell right on the floor. It's like talking about funny. Um, so another one is okay. What if you could be a fruit? Which one would you be and why?
I would be an apple because I feel like apples are the best. They are the best fruit. That is my absolute favorite.
I gave up apples because I kept getting apple seeds, which are filled with cyanide. By the way, I accidentally swallowed two apple seeds, and I was thinking I got cyanide poisoning because they do contain cyanide.
Mm-mm.
That's why I gave them up. I eat oranges now. Pomelos, cara oranges. Yeah, oranges and
I'm drinking
bananas
more
now.
orange juice now, but I've
Yeah,
always had an addiction to apples and apple juice.
yeah. Okay. So what would be another one here? Um, okay. I asked you what the funniest thing you heard from a fan during the concert, or did
Mm-hmm.
I ask you what the strangest thing you have heard from a fan of the concert?
Um, I was headlining a show doing stand up, and when I headline, I'm not gonna throw out rapid jokes. I actually tell stories. So while I'm telling the story, this guy related to it, and just started telling like about his divorce and stuff like that and the stuff going on. But it was just like, it was just really strange timing. Like this is a show, but it like completely turned from like, me telling jokes every so often to where I didn't even feel comfortable telling jokes after he started opening up. Even though he's in the audience, he was just like I forget what I said, but he was like, bro, my wife just left me.
Oh
And it
my.
was like, you okay? And like I asked him that, and he told us this whole story about how like um it was something that happened out of context where his wife wouldn't believe him, but he didn't mean, like, it was just something he did that wasn't taken the right way, and she took it at face value and she left him. So it was just like, okay, well, this isn't a comedy show no more. We're just talking now, and it killed the vibe. So I think that was the
Oh.
strangest.
When that happens, you get this awkward moment. You're like, okay. You want to go
I don't
this?
even think anybody had the awkwardness of it because it was just kind of like we were because like when I'm telling when like me telling the stories up there, I was like, you know, we're all included, and it's just like we're here, we're you know, we're it's a vibe. And when he said it, it was kind of like, well, we're here for you. Are you okay? And it just was a weird thing afterwards where it was just I don't know, it was a beautifully weird moment.
Okay, I don't know what question to ask. Was a rap question, a comedy question? Is so what rap lyrics make you laugh?
Um, I think this is a little risque. It was a little inappropriate, but Kanye West has this lyric from a long time ago, and he said, "Your beauty is the reason that God invented eyeballs, but your booty is the reason God invented my balls."
Yeah, Kanye West is a little bit crass for me.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we can't edit this out when it's live, but that's okay, I guess. Okay, so we'll ask you some a few rapper questions, and we'll hit some questions in the audience, and that's about it. So,
Okay.
um, do you think rappers have an impact on society?
Yes, because right now hip hop is the number one selling music, which makes it like such a like the fact that it's such a big commodity. These are the people that are looked at as role models, which is in a lot of ways a negative thing sometimes. But with that, they have the most influence. So they say, hey, this brand is cool right now, and it's been that way for a long time. So rappers kind of set the standard on what fashion is at the moment in a lot of ways.
Okay, that was a good answer. If you could do it again, what would you do differently?
Um, I probably would never have put out an album and just constantly had singles to just put out on a regular basis.
Okay, so one of our patrons here says, do you think rap will evolve into another music genre like country has fused into pop music? I think you you actually talked about that on before, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it was originally hip hop and then it fused so much into pop music that we've created rap, which is, you know, all these like rap songs you hear on the radio where it's not like, you know, they're not storytelling or anything, they're just bragging or whatever. And then from that people started like rapping about their feelings and which made emo rap. So it's like I think it's gonna keep evolving into it's gonna keep fusing with other stuff.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, thanks, Servan. So let's ask a couple more questions and we'll end it here. Anybody out there want to send more questions? You got another 5 minutes. Um, do you are you okay? Lance, are you a good listener?
I think I'm a good listener. Yeah, I think I'm a good listener.
Okay, that's good. I don't know why they put that in there. Yeah, I think this. I'm gonna check to see all these other questions. I want to make sure they're appropriate questions too. No Kanye West questions, please. Just joking. Um, oh yeah, here's one. How did your parents contribute to your journey?
Um, well, the first couple of years that I was doing stand up, I was kind of sneaking out to do it, and then it got like, I got like a lot of offers, and it was doing really well. And I, when I told my mom, she was really supportive, and she went with me on my first like, um, tour around the United States. So I went just about everywhere, and she was along with me, just support, I guess.
That's excellent. Yeah. Um, oh yeah, I don't want to ask this one. This is too personal. A few of these are actually too personal. They're trying to get into your private life. Haha. Okay, so yes, Servon. That is. Oh, how do you pronounce your first name? Is it Servon or
Yes,
Servon?
sir.
Servon.
CerVon.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Servon, for coming to the podcast, and we really were able to touch on a few things about music and rap and everything. And I really appreciate you, everything you do for us in society, and look forward to having more music from you. So what we're going to do is we're going to end the broadcast and say goodbye.
Bye. It's been great.
And thank you very much. So let's actually not yet because I need to say so long.